You got a gun, you got a big gun, you got a gun, it's not a real one, and all you ever think about is running away, all you ever think about is trying to stay away from me.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Not Safe for Work MMA show on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. I'm your host of this here show, and we are back to talk about some MMA. And joining me is my co-host, Fred Kirby. Fred, I only have one question, and that question is you finished or is you done?
Listen, we should start it off every day with Birdman. Like that puts me in a good mood.
It does.
It gets my comedic juices flowing.
Oh, just a little behind the scenes. I pulled up my iPad, and I haven't used it since the last time we did last week's show, where we played the clip of Birdman. I don't know why. I don't remember the reason for it, but we played the clip, the Birdman clip, put some respect on my name, and it's just one of the greatest clips in existence. It's just fantastic. I could listen to that every day. So pulled it up. Sure enough, it was up on the YouTube, so Fred and I sat here for 5 minutes listening to the entire clip, because that's what we do. Fred,
indeed,
are you excited to talk about face punching?
You know, I am, man, and I'm actually pretty confident that we're going to get it this time, man. Like, at this point, I'm all in on Florida. Fuck it, you know? Like, somebody was fucking tweeting or, put somewhere on social media today that they felt like a lot of the MMA media, like, doesn't even like MMA, and they're salty about it. And so I assume some MMA media members are still like kind of upset, that they're going through with the event and all that bullshit. But for all of me, fuck it. I'm not complaining no more. They're going to do it. Florida's going to let them. Florida's down there tripping anyways. What are you going to do? If you can't beat them, join them. At this point, I'm fucking stoked for the fight, so let's just fucking get to it. Let's act like the fights are here. Let's be fucking appreciative for what we got. I'm not going to bitch about it no more. Let's do it.
Exactly. So I guess you kind of answered my first question, which was, how confident are you that we're going to have fights this weekend?
Oh, yeah. At this point, I mean, listen, with this fucking COVID thing, but 97, 98%. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty fucking sure it would have to be something crazy would have to happen for them to not have the fights. I mean, it's going down this Saturday, Jack, for sure.
Say, Fred, this will be a first time on this show. Am I muted? I'm not muted, right?
You're not muted. No.
We have a first. I have a first on this show. I don't think Justine has ever participated in the Not Safe for Work MMA show before.
No, I didn't.
But she does. But she does. She is plied with cheap wine, so she has a question for you. I don't know what the question is, but she has a question, and I'm going to let her ask it on the show here.
Okay, this should be good.
Fred, this is super important and obviously MMA related. Can you do a body roll? And if so, please demonstrate for the guests on the show right now.
Okay, what is a body roll?
He said, "What is a body roll?"
Damn it, Fred.
Well, that means that I guess that's a no. You do not know how to do a body
roll. Did we ruin it? Is the moment gone?
All right. She's saying, when you make your body go like that, Fred, go ahead.
Oh, no. I need at least how many ever drinks of what's your drink? I need that. My body don't do that while I'm sober. I got to get some limber juice in me. That your hand was doing some wild motion, some snake motion.
If your daughters watch TikTok, then you will be able to see this, and you just need to simply put your back in it. So
my daughters do watch TikTok. I do not. I have
Dude,
not.
The problem with TikTok, I'm going to be for real, though. I get sucked into those bitches because they're like 15 seconds long, 20 seconds long, and you just get on, you see a TikTok, a funny TikTok, it leads into another one, and by the time you get done, it's like an hour and a half has passed, and I'm like, what have I been doing?
You know, my favorite part of us talking about completely non-MMA related shit in the beginning of the show is, I know Keith is somewhere in fucking Quahog, Rhode Island.
I know.
Just pissed as a motherfucker, like, you cute cocksuckers, we got fights on this weekend, and now we're talking about TikTok.
He's just out there, he's beating on minorities extra hard right now. He's just extra hard.
Fucking fuming. Beating on minorities. I dare you.
Shouts to Keith, our resident police officer here at the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. He's a good dude. It's a very, very hard job, especially right now, to be in law enforcement, because A lot of police officers are enforcing shit they probably don't even really believe in, but you got to because that's your job. Whether you believe in it or not is irrelevant. And I don't envy it. And also, obviously, being on the front lines of potentially being infected as well is probably not a fun position to be in when you have families and shit like that. So, shouts to Keith. I'm also an essential person, but I don't know if I don't think I get praise though. I don't think I get praise for being for my essential duty.
Yeah.
But
you get no praise here, goddammit. You're no fucking cop or no firefighter, all right? Now, I mean, I know people need houses and all, but you get no praise. Put your mask on and stop yapping.
We spent last week talking about obviously a lot of COVID. We spent a long time talking about the UFC 249 in general. We went through all the fights. We didn't give any type of predictions, which I guess this week, I don't think we gave predictions, did we? I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so.
I think this week, for obvious reasons, again, there really isn't all that much news. The only thing I wanted to talk about and related to COVID is just how many times now these articles have come out just continuing to bash the UFC for doing this. And it's articles on Bloody Elbow. It's articles on MMA Junkie. You know, it's the big MMA outlets who are continuing to berate the UFC for making this decision. And I think at first, when they were first trying to jam it in, I understood, and I was cool with it. Now, you're in a state that's allowing this shit to happen. They're not making some weird, they're not fighting in a random location. They're not trying to hide. They're not on some Indian reservation. Like, they're in fucking, what is it, Jacksonville or something?
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, they're not, at this point, if you're mad, blame Florida. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I'm it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The bleeding hearts in MMA who can't just be fucking excited for 2 goddamn seconds to watch what is arguably one of the greatest MMA cards in modern UFC. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is one of the greatest cards, top to bottom, in modern UFC.
Yeah, listen, you saved it right there for sure with that modern UFC. I was about to get a little touchy.
The cards back in the day.
Cards out. Right. But
because you had a card once a month. You know what I mean?
Right,
you could stack them. Now we've had cards all the time, so it's very rare that you would get a card that is just stacked. T to B fucking stacked. And people are just boo-hooing that they're at a point. Are they even having fun? Like, are you even having fun anymore? Like,
I think people just like to fucking complain. People like to bitch. They do it all over, all the time about everything. People love to hear themselves talk, and people love to fucking bitch about something. You know, it's why the news is the way it is. It's why these websites are the way, you know, them bitching about something or writing a negative angle probably gets a few more clicks or a few more reads. But at the end of the day, here's the reality, man. At this point, like you said, we're not on a fucking Indian reservation. We're not trying to skew the law. They're in a state. They're going to have an athletic commission. They're doing it with, I imagine, some COVID testing. I don't think all the fucking details of that are out yet, but surely there's going to be some COVID testing there and after. You know, they've got fucking doctors, the whole most of it. At this point, I think we all just need to chill and reserve our judgment. Let's just fucking, at this point here, let's just see what happens. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going to, you know, like you said, fuck, we're all dying for some fights. This is a fantastic card. I could sit here and point out all the negatives, and I have. Who knows how these people are doing mentally? Who knows how their weight cut has went? But you know what? Let's just fucking see. I realize that's what we come here to do is pontificate, but sometimes the pontification always leads to the goddamn glass is half empty. Let's just fucking see how it plays. Maybe it plays out just fine. The fights are good. Everybody makes weight. Nobody gets sick. And if that's the case, everybody needs to fucking shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They might be able to swing it. Now, if they do it and people start getting sick and it's chaos, then you cute cocksuckers get your typewriter out. Then you motherfuckers can start in with the bullshit. But for now, we need to just kind of let this thing go and play it by ear a little bit.
Yeah. Let's get to, there really isn't any other news, at least not really.
Oh, no, wait a minute. There is. We didn't get to it last week.
Oh.
Fight Island.
Oh, okay. Yep. We haven't talked about this?
No, well, I mean, we've talked about a preliminary, but like up to present date, we haven't talked about it. And quite frankly, I don't even know what the fuck is going on with Fight Island.
They haven't talked about it for a minute. Do you think, I guess, same thing about thinking the card's going to happen. I mean, do you think this whole Fight Island concept is legit? Now that they have Florida, it seems like a waste of time to try to go through with this Fight Island thing. You don't need it.
Yeah, but depending on how much of the infrastructure they already got built, they might just have to go ahead and make a fancy show there. I mean, I don't know. Like, he said they were building infrastructure 4 fucking weeks ago. I don't know if he was bluffing, but if he wasn't.
I don't know. I feel like if they were doing that, we'd have found out.
Fair point.
Right,
maybe,
like we would have seen pictures or some shit.
Maybe they pulled back the crayons a long time ago, and they're just like, listen, we're going to be able to ride this out. But then in that case, are we just not going to have no... Okay, so, not to fucking make everything about COVID, but if that's the case, then what are we going to do about international fighters? When do we think that you're going to be able to fly internationally again? When the fuck are we going to be able to see fucking, Habib or Jose Aldo or fucking Tom, Dick, or Harry fight from across the seas? You know what I mean? Like across the pond. When does that happen if Fight Island's not a real thing? So maybe they are still going ahead with Fight Island. I mean, they can't wait till... Okay, fuck. I asked you 1,000,001 questions. Let me ask you this directly. When do you think we're going to have international flights again? When will fighters be able to fly into America to compete again?
Yeah. Give me the question again specifically.
When will there... Wait, listen, fuck the fights. When will there be international flights again in America? When will you be able to fly internationally again in this country? Because if there is no Fight Island, nobody from fucking overseas is fighting until whatever the fuck we think that date is. So we can open up our little fucking, our dollar stores or whatever the fuck we're opening in May. But until they are allowing international flights and borders are opened again, ain't nobody from no other country fighting nowhere unless they got a goddamn Fight Island.
So where does Verdum live? Was he just already here?
I think a lot of these pricks were in Florida. Fucking the Black Zillions or fucking American Top Team, I think, has got a big team down in Florida. There's a bunch of camps that are already in Florida. So, like, a lot of these cats are in Florida. I'm almost positive. For all the Brazilians that are on the card and shit are already in Florida.
So, to answer your question, I mean, I think it's going to be a hot minute. I just don't know how long. Like, I don't know if I have, like, a full opinion. I would imagine you see international flights sooner rather than later just because of money. At some point it's going to cost the airlines so much money to not have them. I
mean, listen, I don't want to be the racist prick to say this, but this is the Not Safe for Work MMA show, so I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Oh, God.
Are we letting Wei Li Jing back in the country, or is she just dumb? Are we? It's like, we can import some motherfuckers from Europe, but Jack, all y'all, the Leech and Wei Li Jing. I don't know if we're taking the imports from China for a long goddamn time, Jack.
It is funny that, like, the what does COVID-19 stand for?
Who the fuck knows?
Is it there? Well, there is. I mean, there's like obviously it stands for something. I know what the 19 stands for.
But does the C stand for Corona?
I'm guessing it's viral disease or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What the fuck? Yeah. Sorry, my phone's going off. It like goes off on my computer. I have two phones, the computer and the iPad. So when someone calls me when I'm recording, it rings all the places.
Yeah, I
like,
hate that.
I got four phone calls coming in at once. But it is like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like this shit originated in China. Like there's no it's not racist. Like that's where it fucking originated. Like it's a disease it's a virus that came from fucking China, Wuhan, China. Like that's where the shit came from. Like what the fuck you gonna do? Like that's a scary play if you're talking about having people coming into the country who are from. The problem is China is massive.
Right.
So it's like you like it'd be like saying in California you got the bubonic plague, so now we're not going to let anybody from New York come over to us. You know, like that wouldn't make any sense.
To be fair, this virus is spreading all around the world, so I imagine it's all over China, even though they be bullshitting saying it's not.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's in all their little cities and fucking states too. Wherever the fuck Wei Li Zhang is training in the mountains of China, the old fucking corona bat-eating virus is probably running rampant there too. Oh, but look, all jokes aside, when are we going to start allowing flights from China? Is the more realistic, like real talk.
I would imagine when we have a vaccine.
July?
When we have a vaccine is my guess, which could be a year.
So okay, so then in that case, bringing it back around to Fight Island, they have to have something in the works. They've got to,
because they could have international fighters.
Well, they can't not let Wei Li Zhang fight for fucking years at a time. I mean, I guess they could, but surely they're trying to come up with something.
That is a good point that I didn't think about. You know, at what point? At what point does the UFC have to make something happen in order to make sure that their stars can remain stars who are in other countries?
Well, and listen, you know, those guys and girls are under contract too. They're owed their 3 or 4 or 5 fights a year, whatever the contract says. So they got to fight them at some point, man. I mean, they've got to. I mean, I guess you can only do what you can do, but you know, I don't know, man. I'm 50-50. I'm kind of with you on it to where it's like, okay, where's the pictures? I haven't heard much about it. But then again, like, you know, what I just pointed out, like, when are they going to have international flights again? Like, something's got to give.
Yeah.
At some fucking point.
By the way, they are allowing fully staffed corners for UFC 249. How do you feel about that?
You know, whatever, man.
I thought they're only going to have like one person.
What is it? 2 more extra people though? Like,
yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, I guess times 20 for the fighters. You're talking about an extra 40 to 50 people there rummaging around the hotels or whatever the fuck. But
are they going to be silly and like make them like sit far away from each other, even though they've all been training together?
I would imagine not. I mean, at that point, yeah, like probably not. I don't know, man. It's still very interesting. It is interesting to see how all this is going to play out. I wonder, you know, we're going to have a lot to talk about next Sunday leading up to this, seeing how this does happen. If they do get COVID testing, how often, when, you know, yeah, I don't know, man. There's still a lot of question marks.
Let's go through the card. Let's go through the main card and make some predictions. And then we will do a look ahead of some fight announcements that have come for next week's card. And then, I don't know, that's probably all we got. It'll probably be a short episode today. There's really nothing to talk about. Main event is Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, of course. Co-main is Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz. Both of those are for title fights. One of them is interim, one of them is not. You got Francis Ngannou taking on Rosenstruck. You have Jeremy Stevens taking on Calvin Kattar. You got Greg Hardy taking on Jorgen De Castro. That is your main card. Your prelims are Donald Cerrone versus Anthony Pettis, Fabricio Verdum taking on Alexei Olynyk. You have Carla Esparza taking on Michelle Waterson. Jacare Souza taking on Uriah Hall. Vincent Luque taking on Nico Price. Charles Rosa taking on Bryce Mitchell. And Ryan Spann taking on Sam Alvey. That is your curtain jerker. Again, after reading down that card, holy
Fire.
fuck, dude.
Fire.
It's absolute fire. I couldn't believe there was a thread. Our boy Derek Bowe, he posted a thread on the MMA Takeover page on Facebook. So if you guys want some, be a part of a good Facebook group, look up the MMA Takeover on Facebook. Join the group. There was a poll that he did, and the poll was just simply, I wish I had like a pause button, which I don't, because if I had a pause button, I'd pause it right now so I could actually go look this up, but I don't have a pause button, so I'm trying to stall as long as I can so that way I can try to find it and pull it up. The question for the poll was something along the lines of, how do you feel about UFC 249, or like rate your looking forward to UFC 249, however you want to put it. And
like, how stoked are you?
Basically, yeah. Like how excited are you for the card, right? And the question, let me see if I can find it in here. the options were like most excited I've been for a UFC card ever, just another card, most excited I've been for a sporting event ever, and like don't care, right? Those were the options. The mass majority of people, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to find it, but I'm probably not going to be able to. Oh, here it is. Where does your excitement for UFC 249 rank? The number one answer was per usual, no different.
I don't mean to throw any shade towards any of the people who might be in the Facebook group you're talking about, but, you know, all due respect, what in the fuck are they talking about? Hold on, read that answer again, verbatim, say it again, what'd you say?
Question, where does your excitement for UFC 249 rank? The number one answer was per the usual, no different. And,
per the usual.
And let me give some special shout outs to some friends of the podcast who that their answer was. Robert Taylor, the fuckboy himself, and then also our very own Keith Schillen. That was his answer.
Oh my God. How? Okay. Listen, I was about to be very disrespectful for the people that gave that answer. Now that we know our very own Keith Schillen is one of the people that gave that answer, quite frankly, I would like for him to explain himself on some sort of platform next. But how in the fuck could this be per usual? There is nothing about this that is in any way usual. We've had our fucking sport that we love stripped of us for, what is it, fucking 6-8 weeks now? How long has it been since we've had a live fight?
My response to that a couple days ago was the per usual crowd, y'all are awful. It's one of the most stacked cards, top to bottom, we've had in modern UFC. Even if this wasn't a month plus in the making, it's literally stacked. I hate MMA fans.
Who gives a fuck? It's a pandemic. There ain't no sports on TV. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Pussies are wet worldwide for this shit. Like, not only is it a good card, but it's the card. Look, man, this isn't going to be as special as the first time that we get people into a venue, whether that's a year or 2 years or 3 months from now. But this Saturday night, when those fuckers go out there and they compete for us and we're still all in lockdown and we're here, this is going to be a lot different than that fucking Brasilia card. This is going to be fucking special. This is going to be one of the most important UFC events ever. And I'm not saying it because of the fights. I'm saying it because of its fucking place in history. Whether you believe in this pandemic or not, it is definitely real. It's happening. We are on fucking lockdown. We've been on lockdown. Everybody on the planet's been on lockdown. There are no other sports happening. Like, it will be the only show in town. All eyes will truly be on the UFC. Yeah. And maybe not truly because, a lot of people are still fucking worried about whether they're going to get their bread tomorrow. But in general, they're the only fucking thing happening right now. This could not be a more interesting event. Like, this is definitely not per fucking usual. Not in the slightest.
Do you think, switching gears to the card itself, do you think any of these fights are going to be affected by the lack of crowd noise? And if so, which fight do you think it might be?
Oh, God. Good question. No and yeah. Like, on one hand, I think they're all affected by crowd noise, right? If you're the favored fighter or something and you're losing and you land a good punch and the crowd comes alive, surely that fucking helps you. I think they will all kind of miss or not miss that factor. But then again, at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. I don't think these fights happen differently because of that. No. I think at the end of the day, they're still in there fighting with one another. They still bring their skills. I think that the crowd being there and roaring could get the right person a little bit of energy to rally behind or something. But then again, I don't know, man. If you're in there and you're getting your fucking face torn off, that's probably all the fucking incentive you need to try to land a good punch and get back in the fight. So, yeah. I guess my answer is no. I don't think ultimately it will really matter. I don't think. Okay. Definitely not one specific fight. Main event will be weird because they're probably, used to getting that massive pop. But at the end of the day, a fight's a fight's a fight.
All right, let's give some predictions. I'll start at the bottom. Why not? Let's start at the bottom, move our way up. Let's do real quick predictions. Who wins, who loses. If you want to give any type of, round or finishing prediction, whatever, go ahead and do that. But let's just see where we stand as far as a pick'em is concerned and where we disagree. So you got Ryan Spann, Sam Alvey is the curtain jerker. Who takes this one?
Again, Sam Alvey, man, one of the nicest guy in this sport. The cute cocksucker is not always smiling like that as a gimmick. He really is a nice, polite, happy dude. All that being said, he's getting fucking snuffed, son. I mean, I don't see a way that this fight don't end with old smiling Sam on his back looking up at the lights. But at least he gets to go home to a beautiful, smart broad, and he's a really nice guy. But Sam's getting snuffed in the first round for all of me. It
is funny, though, because this does feel like a fight where you're going to be like, oh, shit. Like, Sam Alvey's going to land the right hand because he's finally going up against someone that's going to press him, and he fucking just smacks him across the face with it again. He's flat on his feet like he does. And it does seem like it's like don't be this is okay. Ryan Spann, I think, will win. I'm assuming he's a pretty decent favorite as well. I don't know. I haven't looked, but I would imagine that he is. Mm-hmm. But I will say, if Sam Alvey wins, it will not be all that surprising. He hasn't had a chance to fight anybody for a while where he could just do his normal flat-footed plodding, throwing big overhand rights. It's been a minute. And like, he might be able to do that here. And if he lands it, he lands it, and he will knock someone out with it. So he's got to survive until then. But
I'm not the X's and O's guy. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not the guy that's going to sit here and debate all the subtle intricacies about the jab and all this. But I feel like Sam Alvey's fucking slow on his feet. He hits hard, but he's really slow and awkward moving. It doesn't got great head movement. I think fucking Ryan Spann's
head movement.
Explosive and fast and hits hard. He's just like a bad matchup for Sam. I think Sam's going to be flat-footed and slow, and Ryan Spann's going to thunderstrike the fuck out of him in that first round. Pains me to say, because I enjoy Sam very much.
I have a feeling that is exactly what's going to happen. I mean, that is my best guess.
Yeah, right.
You know what? You know how I love to play clips on this show. Let's get to a good clip.
Miss. Ronda, make her miss. Head movement. Head movement. Head movement. Head movement. Head movement. Head movement. Yes, move. Head up. Head up. Heads up. Catch her. Clinch. Head movement. Good job. Jab. Move, please. Move. Clinch. No.
Okay, Edmund.
You know what? I will say, I give a lot of shit to Edmund. We all do, for obvious reasons. But there is something very disheartening as you listen to the end of that, where he is just so deeply upset about the failure, right? Like he's just like he's trying to will his thing into existence, and it's just not working. And I think he has a lot of love for Ronda, and we all give him a lot of shit, but he cared a lot about her career and whatever else. So I will give credit where credit is due, because we all give him a lot of shit. All right, Charles Rosa, Bryce Mitchell. We got the young buck coming in. Charles Rosa's been around for a minute. He's not old, but he's been around for a minute. He has the experience. Will experience reign supreme.
Listen, again, I ain't the X's and O's guys. I'm picking Bryce Mitchell for two reasons. A, because I like how he sounds. I love a fucking hillbilly. I just like hearing them talk. They're interesting. And B, he fucking pulled off a twister. That's it. That's why. That's
only
why
reasons
I'm
we
picking
need
him to win this fight, because he sounds like a hillbilly and he's pulled off a twister. Those two things are fucking badass in combination.
You know what, Fred? Couldn't agree more. Vincent Luque, Nico Price. This is a tough one. I think my concern is that, not my concern, with Nico Price, he's done things that I don't understand. Like, he's done things that I'm like, I don't understand. How did he do that? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get the science behind what he's doing. And because of that, it makes it hard to pick him, you know, because he has the results. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to judge, right? You judge by the results.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't get it. Like, how are you doing this?
Where's Nico Price from?
Florida. And
Vicente Luque is Brazilian, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I like Nico Price. He's a real tough guy, but I'm always a little worried about guys who are known for their toughness, because that just means they've taken a beating several times, which means their defense is usually trash. So if somebody's toughness is one of their attributes, I don't love that, especially against
Brian Barberena.
Yeah, because that only gets you so far, man. Fuck Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz can take it, and guess what? Jorge Masvidal put the beating on him that he was waiting to take.
Now, mind you,
will beat you.
Now I will say, mind you, this is a rematch. He fought Nico Price, but this was Nico Price early on. I think it might have been Nico Price's debut in the UFC. I'm not sure. It was not his debut. His debut was against Brandon Thatch, and then he won that. Then he fought Alex Morono. That was overturned to no contest, but I believe he won that one. That was when we popped for weed. I think that was the card where like a bunch of people popped for weed. It was like him and Curtis Blades and somebody else. And then he beat Alan Joban. Then he fought Vincent Luque. And then he lost via Darce. And then he beats George Sullivan, beats Randy Brown. Then he loses to Alisson. Then he beats Tim Means. He loses to Jeff Neal. Then he beats James Vick with that crazy upkick from the ground, right?
Yeah. Vicente Luque. I'm glad we did this. I got some bets to put in this weekend, and actually just hearing you rattle off all those names. I like Nico Price, and he's a tough kid, but yeah, if Vicente Luque beat him with a Darce choke, I again, for the 100th time, I'm not the X's and O's guys, but I feel like Vicente Luque is a better striker than Nico Price. Am I out of bounds on that? Or
I don't think so, no.
I think at least a very slight edge. So if he's finished him with a submission the first time they fought, that don't bode very well for old Nico at all, Jack. Like, yeah. I'm Vicente Luque all the way on. And Vicente's coming off the loss to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, right?
Yes.
Okay, so listen, no fucking shame in that, right? Like, fucking Wonderboy's fucking Wonderboy. You don't get the nickname Wonderboy because you're not a good fucking striker.
Yep, exactly. Okay, moving on up the card. Let me get back to it. You have Jacare versus Uriah Hall. I'm going to go Jacare.
I'd like to be contrarian and just go against whatever you say just for the fuck of it, but I got to go Jacare too.
You mean contrarian?
Yeah, that's it. I would like to be cunty, just fucking play devil's advocate, but I got to go with Jacare on this one too, man. I feel like, although I will say this. Uriah Hall is very, very much a mental fighter. And what I mean by that is when he comes into a fight with his head screwed on right, he's one of the best fighters in the world. But sometimes he's one of those guys that he just has weird nights and he comes in and he doesn't perform very well at all. You know, he's the guy that could beat Gegard Mousasi one night and lose to fucking Tom Jefferson the fucking next night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
well, he's coming off of 2 underdog losses in a row. He was an underdog against Bevan Lewis, and he was an underdog against Antonio Carlos Jr.
Right.
Beat both of them. Beat Shoeface by a split decision and beat Bevan Lewis by knockout. And it was a pretty good knockout, too.
I mean, look, Bevan Lewis, all due respect. What are you going to do?
And then his last win before that was Jotko, also was an underdog. And his last win before that was Gegard, where he was an underdog.
Is he an underdog in this fight?
I don't know yet.
If I'll be some of this, maybe he is going to knock Jacare out.
Right?
That's what I was going to say, though. I feel like that's the way Uriah Hall is. Like, I could see him coming in and landing some spinning shit and fucking knocking Jacare completely unconscious, or I could see him coming out and laying the egg and getting submitted in the second round.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with that just because I'm more of a Jacare fan. But to be fair, Uriah Hall has the tools to not only win this fight, but win it in flashy, devastating fashion. It's just you never know what you're going to get with him exactly. If he comes out and lets his fucking limbs fly early and often, he might just get that knockout. But if he's timid at all and he lets Jacare get a hold of him and start fucking building up that blood in his muscles, he's going to get his funny ass subbed out in the second or third round.
Yeah. I just remember thinking that Jacare at one point was just climbing, man. He was the next guy there.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just kind of all fell off a cliff. You know, he finally gets to fight Yoel, loses it by split. Yoel kept kind of trending up, and he kind of started trending down. Then he gets the two wins in a row there, goes up against Robert Whittaker, loses. Then he beats Derek Brunson. Then he loses to Gastelum, right? He can't get past these guys that are in title contention to get back up there. Beats Weidman, but beats Weidman in 2018 where it really just holds no weight. And then 2 losses in a row now. One against Jack Hermanson, and then the other one was a split decision loss against Jan Blachowicz. So now he's fighting Uriah Hall. Yeah, give me Jacare. Carla Esparza, Michelle Waterson. I like Carla Esparza's recent activity better, but I don't know. That's pretty close. It's a good matchup.
We'll see. I feel like this is Michelle Waterson's fight to lose. If Carla Esparza can't push her up against the fence or get the takedown or lay and pray or fucking wall and stall or anything like that, she's getting fucked up. Like, I think Michelle Waterson's a way better striker. Like, Carla Esparza has to close the distance quick, fast, and in a hurry in this fight, or she's going to be in deep trouble. And I think she'll be able to do it once or twice, but I don't think she can continuously do it throughout the fight. She's not going to be able to pull a John Fitch on her. And whenever Michelle Waterson gets some distance in this fight, she's going to fucking light Carla Esparza up.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I fucking hope so.
I'm okay with that. I like what Carla's done recently, but other than that, it's just close for me. So I'll lean Carla, but it's a pretty soft lean. This is the big one for me. I'm super excited for this fight. Verdum taking on Olynyk. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in this fight, and I love it.
I'll tell you what should happen in this fight.
What should happen? Yeah, 100%. I already know what should happen. Verdum should sub him out quick. But right. I don't know, man. It's just weird. I don't know.
Well, you got all these interesting stipulations. A, we're in the middle of a goddamn pandemic. That who knows who's been training where, what the fuck they're going to come in looking like. But B, Verdum ain't fought in the month of Sundays. He's coming off a suspension. I can't remember the last time Verdum competed. It's been at least fucking 2 years. Am I wrong? A year or two, right? Like,
yeah.
It's been a long time since Verdum competed last. So, and on the flip side, Olynyk not only has been competing, he's been active and he's been fucking impressive. Thing is, he's been impressive with his submissions, where Fabricio just don't miss.
Yeah.
You don't submit Fabricio Verdum. Like, that just, you might, Stipe knocked him out, fucking JDS knocked him out. What you ain't doing is submitting Fabricio motherfucking Verdum. Now, again, it's been 2 years. Verdum tested positive for steroids. How much was that, helping his performance back in the day? How much is it going to hinder his performance now? He's a bit long in the tooth. Verdum was fighting in fucking pride, Jack. He's old as a motherfucker. So, there's a lot of fucking, a whole bunch of fucking outside factors that go into this fight. Now, all that being said, of course you're picking Verdum. I mean, if anybody with any sense is going to pick Verdum, unless you're, what is Olynyk, Polish or some shit like that?
Something like that.
Unless you're from fucking Poland or the Eastern Bloc, you're fucking picking Verdum. But because of all the things I just said, this fight is definitely interesting. Although, again, all that being said, even with Olynyk's active schedule, Fabricio not fighting in a while, I still think Olynyk needs to try to land the big punches. Don't go in there and try to jump right into a grappling match of Fabricio Verdum. I don't give a fuck how long it's been.
Yeah, I'm with you. Donald Cerrone, Anthony Pettis. This one is a rematch, but these are two very different individuals since they last fought. I don't know if you can really take that fight into consideration when it comes to this. But Pettis Cerrone, I'm going to go Pettis. I think that he has again, strung together some stuff recently here that the knockout against Wonderboy Thompson, granted, he was getting his ass kicked prior to it, but that was absolutely spectacular. And I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. I'm very excited for this fight. I understand it's weird, but I'm very excited for it. I didn't love the Nate Diaz matchup for Anthony Pettis. The loss is not very surprising there. The thing that's giving me pause is the, Carlos Diego Ferreira fight. I want to love where Anthony Pettis is right now. I guess it just depends on where you're ranking Cowboy. Like where are you considering him in the grand scheme of things right now? Because like Cerrone's nowhere near Ferreira right now, right? Like they're not even in the same class, right? Like, am I wrong?
I mean, I don't know. Not really, but MMA math is a little weird. I would agree with you on that, but it's hard to say. Cerrone's also one of these guys that on any given night, man, he performs strangely. You know what I mean? Like sometimes he shows up and he looks really fucking impressive. That being said, I think for me, again, I ain't the greatest at this shit, but this seems like an easy call. A, they fought before, and it was an easy win for Anthony Pettis. B, since then they've both done a lot of shit, but like you said, Anthony's knocked out Wonder Boy. He hurt Tony Ferguson when they fought. Like he ended up losing that fight, but he rocked the shit out of Tony before he lost. He never really just comes out and gets steamrolled. He usually folds in the second or third round, but he's always competitive with everybody in that first round.
He's competitive, and then he kind of quits when he doesn't get his way. So as long as he's getting his way, he's a front runner, right? As long as he gets his way, he's fine. And
I think he can front run against Cowboy. Like, I just think Cowboy's fucking long in the tooth. His body's taken a fucking shit kicking over the years. I mean, Conor beat him up with his shoulder last time they fought. I just think Cowboy's I think Cowboy's done at this point. Like, he can, he very well could show up and prove me wrong. And Anthony Pettis is by no, stretch of the imagination a spring chicken. I just think he's got more tread on the tire than fucking Cowboy at this point. And again, they fought before, and Anthony won with a kick to the body. If Anthony comes out and he's not timid and he lets his guns go, I think he finishes Cowboy in the first round, kind of like the first fight, rather.
Now, Fred, what we just talked about, those were the prelims. So we're just now getting to the main card. Those were the prelim fights. It's wild.
What a card. This is like the old days, man. I hate to seem like such an old fucking snooty fucking MMA fan, but this is what it used to be like, man. A card where you knew the names of both guys in every fight. Like, this is what I do. And, sometimes the UFC will have cards, and I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? They have some of those European cards or some of the Asian cards, and I'm like, man, I ain't never heard of this dude at all.
Yeah.
This fucking card, buddy, you've heard of every one of these cocksuckers.
Greg Hardy, Yorgan De Castro. Give me Greg Hardy, baby. I'm on the train. I'm choo-chooing down the tracks. Give me Greg Hardy until I've been satisfactorily proven otherwise.
I gotta admit, I'm surprised you're not a Trump supporter. You just seem like the type of cute cocksucker that would get off being a troll like that. Like, of course you're going for Greg Hardy. I'm going for the other guy. That's how I pick Greg Hardy fights. I do a show called Keyboard Warriors with my homie Jesus, and he is up in arms about Greg Hardy. He refuses to watch any card that Greg Hardy's on, so I guess he's going to miss this card, which makes him a fucking douchebag for all of me. But I, on the other hand, we
call those individuals soy boys.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, no shit. His fucking dick has probably disappeared, and he's got a little bit JJ there now with that bullshit. But listen, I do share his sentiment in that I think Greg Hardy is a piece of shit. But that's what I love about him choosing MMA as his next sport. We get to see somebody literally go in there and beat the fuck out of him. I love it. Now, to be fair to Greg Hardy, nobody has really been able to do that yet.
Even short notice against Alexander Volkov couldn't even get it done.
You got it. Fair enough. But I'm here for the fact that somebody's going to do it. And eventually, when Greg Hardy gets his funny ass put to sleep, Daddy Fred will be there sitting his fat ass on the couch watching, happy as a fucking lark.
And you think that man is Yorgan De Castro?
I'm fucking hoping. Look, do I think it is? No, I don't. But again, I'm not picking that Greg Hardy prick fucking ever. The other guy by knockout.
Give me Greg Hardy, baby. All day, every day. All day, every day. Jeremy Stephens, Calvin Kattar. Give me Calvin Kattar here. Jeremy Stephens still has some left in the tank. He's not a has-been. He's still cruising along here. But I do like where Calvin Kattar is, and I prefer the young blood in this interaction.
It's a good pick. I like that. But I think I'm going to go with Jeremy Stephens. To be fair, I don't know enough about Calvin Kattar. I don't know if he will choose to fight him. Does he have the wrestling ability and the grappling ability to? Okay, is he smart enough to use it? Because I know he can crack, and I know he likes to throw his hands. Will he be foolish enough to stand with Jeremy and avoid the safe strategy? Because
I don't know if it would be foolish to buy. I don't know if it would be foolish. I mean,
so you think he can strike with him?
Sure, there's a way to strike with Jeremy Stephens where you don't open yourself up to taking bombs. You just gotta be smart.
Careful, though, baby. You gotta be careful. You know what? Careful. I don't give a shit. I'm picking Jeremy Stephens by fucking thunderstrike.
Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruck. Give me Ngannou by knockout.
You know what? No, that's what everybody's fucking doing. I'm picking fucking Rosenstruck by knockout, a lot like the Overeem fight. I think the first 2 rounds, Francis is going to come out. He's going to do his thing. He's going to hurt him a little bit. He's not going to get the finish, though. And we know how Francis is. If he gets you hurt and he gets the finish quickly, he's good to go. But if he doesn't get that finish, I think we can see reminiscent of the Derek Lewis fight. And I think Rosenstruck's going to come out in that 3rd round and fucking snuff Ngannou, knock him straight the fuck out. And everybody's going to be, holy shit, can't fucking believe it.
All right, we'll see, buddy. I like how we disagree on the main card here. Henry Cejudo, Dominick Cruz. This is actually a tough one. You
motherfucker. No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
This is a tough one.
I tell you what, right now, this is by far my favorite fight on this fucking card. Because, boy, and you know what? Listen, it'll probably backfire on me, and the cute little disgusting, ugly cocksucker will probably knock Dominick Cruz out and ruin my whole fucking night. But I tell you what, for all of me, I see Dominick Cruz beating the shit out of Henry Cejudo. I do not see Henry out wrestling him. He's not holding him down. And God damn it, I don't give a fuck what he did against Marlon Moraes and TJ Dillashaw. He is not knocking Dominick Cruz out. God damn it, it's not happening unless Dominick Cruz has just completely fallen off a fucking cliff. He's not out striking him. He's not out grappling him. Newsflash, Henry, your little sabbatical at 35 ends Saturday night. Fucking knockout 2nd or 3rd round.
But I feel like a loss for Henry Cejudo is not the same thing as like Colby Covington losing, as far as the shtick is concerned. Cejudo's shtick will be perfectly fine regardless. Where Covington, the loss kind of made him take a back seat for a minute. He's had to he's had to lean away from it, just because he was really all in. Cejudo's just been weird. It's not been. He hasn't been like abrasive or anything like that. So his shtick's continuing, whether you like it or not. Fred doesn't really. The results of this fight are irrelevant. But he won't. He at least won't have the belt at that point.
Well, I think the thing that keeps Henry relevant too is that he's got a whole other weight division that he can go still participate in and fight for the belt in. And quite frankly, he should probably still be at. I've always felt like Henry wasn't big enough to be a 35er. All joking and hyperbole aside, he's a super talented guy, and that's why he fucked around and won the belt. But I don't think he's big enough or has what it takes to keep continuously competing against these 35ers. He's just not that big of a dude. Look at him. I mean, we all make the jokes, but he's like fucking 5'3.5". He's a tiny little baby boy.
Tiny little baby boy. Well put.
I mean, listen, he might be able to kick my ass, but if we're just standing there looking at each other, he's a small specimen. I'm a bear of a creature next to him.
Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje.
What a fucking fight, man. You know what? I tell you what, I'm going to come out of left field on this one, and I'm probably wrong. I guess the safe bet is late submission by Tony Ferguson, right? Like that seems like a pretty safe bet. But I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say that I think a lot of people look at this fight and they're going to go, Justin will eventually catch Tony early. He'll hurt him. Tony will survive the storm. Justin gets tired. Late in the fight, Tony gets the submission. I think that'll probably be the general consensus by all of the smart guys out there. But I think that little strategy is a dangerous game to play. And one of these times, somebody's actually going to land that other blow, and it's not going to be like the Lando Banana fight where you sneak out of it, or the Anthony Pettis fight where you sneak out of it. One of these cute cocksuckers is going to land that second blow, and they're going to knock him out. And you know what? I'm going to go on record and say it's Justin Gaethje. I think I don't know if it'll be the first round, but maybe even first round knockout. I think he's going to hurt him like Tony gets hurt often in his fights, but instead of him somehow slithering through it, I think Justin lands another bomb and puts him out.
Okay. This is a fight where, again, I think I wouldn't be super shocked by any result. I mean, it's not even like I think it's anybody's fight necessarily. It's just no result really will shock me. I think Tony Ferguson should win this fight. I know he's been hurt a few times, but ultimately I think he can do what he needs to do to avoid that from happening. He also has been hurt, and when he gets hurt, he starts getting creative and doing weird shit, and I don't know if Gaethje will be able to deal with that. So, yeah, ultimately, give me Ferguson, but I'm not going to be surprised by any result here. The issue with Ferguson losing is he loses here, and now he can't fight Khabib next, right?
Yep.
He can't lose here and then fight Khabib finally. So it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, he's got to win this fight, or that fight's just never going to happen. It's going to go down in history as just the biggest disappointment.
Or worse, it happens another year or two from now when it shouldn't, way too late, there's no belt on the line, and who gives a fuck, right? Like, not only does this fight need to happen, but it needs to happen now or next. Like, I guess if Tony beats Gaethje, then we can set it up for later this year. But yes, if he loses, like, they still might fight, but it'll never mean what it would mean right now. Like, no matter what fucking Khabib says, like, he's fucking, what? Khabib's younger than I am. What is he, 31 or some shit like that? He might fight for another fucking 3 or 4 or 5 years. So, like, the fact that they could cross paths isn't that unlikely. But if Tony takes a loss, it just changes it. It changes the fight. They have to fight now. Listen, Tony's been beaten before. He's just on a hell of a streak. If he loses, it just changes all that. He goes back to zero. It's like the last 12 fights that he won in a fucking row don't matter.
Agreed.
So, yeah, like But, listen, all things considered, it makes it as exciting as fuck for us, the fans. And you got to take your hat off to Tony. The motherfucker's got some stones because he knows how much of a risk. Like, we ain't, we're not fucking rocket scientists here. He knows, like, him, his team, they all know this too. This is a big fucking risk for Tony against a really dangerous fucking guy. So you got to tip your hat to Tony. The motherfucker's got some balls to say, fuck it. I'll take that fight. I'll prove that I deserve it. Like, that's some old school Chuck Liddell, BJ Penn shit right there, man. Like, that's some true bad motherfucker shit. Like, real talk.
So let's see if our picks line up with the public. You have Ryan Spann 89% to 11.
Sure.
You have Bryce Mitchell 85 to 15.
Called that one.
You have Vincent Luque 78 to 22.
I don't want to start bragging, but
you have Jacare 66 to 34.
Listen.
You have Michelle Waterson 75 to 25. You have Verdum 79 to 21. And then it gets interesting. You got Pettis 51 to Cerrone 49.
Ooh, what a fuck. That's wild.
You got DeCastro 52 to Hardy 48.
I'm fucking pitching a shutout here, to be fair.
You got Calvin Kattar 80 to 20.
God damn it.
You got Nagano 79 to 21.
All right, well, you see what happens when you run your fucking mouth?
You got Cejudo 60 to 40.
And you motherfuckers are out of your mind.
And then you got Ferguson 68-32.
Fucking Cejudo. Boy, you guys really think this little prick's good, don't you? I guess we'll see. We'll see what he does with fucking Dominick.
I hope Cejudo wins just for the sake of our goddamn show.
My head's going to fucking fly.
I know it will.
If he knocks out Dominick, you guys better check on me. Somebody better. I know we're practicing social distancing. Somebody better fucking FaceTime or Zoom me in a call or some bullshit. I'm going to be on fucking suicide watch if that disgusting little Mexican prick wins.
Now, let me give you UFC Fight Night Jacksonville taking place Wednesday, May 13th. So we have
Just
a card.
3 days later? 4 days later?
Just a couple days later. We got kicking off the prelims. We have Chase Sherman making his UFC comeback against Ike Villanova. We have Hunter Azor versus Brian Kelleher. We have Sijara Eubanks versus Sarah Moraes. We got Michael Johnson versus Diego Moises. We got Andre Arlovsky versus Felipe Lins. We got Carl Roberson versus Marvin Vittori. Ray Borg versus Ricky Simone. Drew Dober versus Alexander Hernandez. Oven St. Preux versus Ben Rothwell. That's a cool little fight. And then Anthony Smith, Glover Teixeira. All you motherfuckers acting like this 2FC 49 is just fighting card as usual. Motherfuckers, this is fight card per usual.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't mean to start bitching so quickly into the thing, but boy, I mean, listen, God damn it. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I will be there. I'm watching every prelim. I'm going to be home anyways. How could I miss it? But, to be fair, this one wasn't nothing like 249, Jack.
Right.
Like, we fell off a lot with the fucking quality on this fucking card.
And then on Saturday, so you have this card Saturday, then you have the Wednesday after that, and then Saturday, a couple days after that. I'm fucking stoked, man. This is going to be awesome. Here's the card so far. Dontel Mays versus Rodrigo Non-Scamento. Darren Elkins versus Nate Landwehr. Courtney Casey versus Mara Romana Barella. You have Giga Chikdezi versus Mike Davis. You have Kevin Holland versus Anthony Hernandez. Not the same Anthony Hernandez from last card. Yadong Song versus Marlon Vera. Oh, Cheeto.
Yeah.
Eric Anders versus Christoph Jotko.
Good fight.
Edson Barbosa versus Dan Eig. Claudia Gadea versus Angela Hill. And Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. See, fuckers, this is what you get for not getting excited about UFC 249. It's not like it's bad. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's just...
Yeah. I'm happy for it. I will not bitch about these cards.
No, I'm cool with it.
I won't. We're stoked. Goddamn, we went a long time without fights. We're getting off with a bang with 249. Listen, under any other circumstances, these cards would be lackluster. Let's keep it a buck. But for now, with what we got going on now, with zero other live sports, I will fucking take it with a Coke and a smile, Jack. Come on, bring on. Give me your fucking worst, UFC. I'll fucking take it, Jack. I'm here for it. Fuck it. Not bitching.
All right. That's all we got, Fred. Anything else you want to add, buddy?
No, hey, we're an hour 5 in, Jack. We fucking pulled an hour. And listen, next week we'll be getting an hour in easily. Next week we're going to have plenty shit to talk about. I mean, this whole week is going to be filled with jewels on Fight Island and 249. We're going to know what kind of testing they're doing. This will be the last episode for a while where we're going to have to scram to find shit to talk about. After this week coming up, we're going to have fucking multiple events. It's going to be fucking chaos, Jack, and I love it.
Yeah, and it seemed to all kind of work out here, so I'm glad.
Yep.
All right, Fred.
Let's fucking do it.
I'll see you next week, buddy.
All right, brother.